Greetings. It is September 19th, the year 2006, approximately 12:40 p.m. Central Time. This this entry into the video blog is about an issue that I believe is rather concerning. I guess each person will decide for himself or herself how they will see it. And I must, when I do these, I always have a disclaimer, and today's disclaimer would be that even though things don't look that great right now, you can always count on what is supposed to happen, and what is supposed to happen is spoken of in the King James Bible. And so these events that are occurring will not, at least I don't foresee them encompassing a complete human experience. Now, what am I talking about? Most of you, or some of you, may have seen the address of President Bush at the United Nations Tuesday, September 18th, year 2006. And you may have seen the critiques, because we all know that there are commentators just waiting to give their opinion as soon as the president has stopped speaking. And the American news media's reaction to his speech doesn't concern me. The comments of the leader of Iran and the leader of Venezuela, and the reaction that they got from the hall, the main hall where the other leaders of nations are listening, that does concern me. And I have been away from doing these things. You get involved in life and you try to live your life, and sometimes your attention is diverted from certain things. And I know that no matter how much is said, people are just not going to listen. The majority of the problem is that people are not listening. The majority of the problem is that people are not voting. The majority of the problem is that people have other agendas. And I'm talking specifically about people in the United States of America. What the people in Iran and what the people in Venezuela and the people of France and Germany, what the people of another nation think, is really their issue. They decide whether, taking into consideration the human experience and the events of the world, they decide for themselves if they need to get involved. Even though I have said, that what is destined to happen is going to happen, the reality is that a lot of people's lives can be gravely affected, impacted. We know from what we're able to tell that the Iranian government is a repressive regime. We know the same thing about Venezuela. We know the same thing about Cuba. And the events are leading towards, at least the way I surmise from the way I would see them, I would have to say that the events are leading towards major international crisis that will result in a large-scale loss of human life. I don't believe that you can prevent it, but I do believe it serves as an admonition, as a warning, that if we, the people who live within American borders, continue to be apathetic and disinterested and just completely blind to what is going on, what is going to happen is going to be bad. And if we continue not to pay any attention, what will happen after that is going to be even more worse. You have an opportunity to get involved and to do something, and you know whether what you're doing is making a positive contribution. I used to say that the only person that has to worry about my life is me. I'm the one that has to work. I'm the one that has to make the money. I'm the one that has to make sure that everything gets paid at the appropriate time. Unfortunately, that's not the truth. I can see that now. What I do affects other people, and what other people do affects me. The lack of involvement by eligible citizens, the United States of America, eligible voters, is affecting not only everyone in the country, but it's also having an impact internationally. I don't believe that you should have leaders of countries calling the President of the United States of America the devil. I don't believe that you should have leaders of other countries calling the President of the United States of America a terrorist. And what's even worse is to get a resounding applause from leaders of other nations in the halls of the United Nations on American soil. It is even more distressing. It tells you where people are. Decisions had to be made. There are a lot of Americans who happen to believe that the military operations in Iraq were not necessary. I'm going to say this very, very plainly. You don't leave a person like Saddam Hussein running around free in the current Al-Qaeda environment. That's just a mistake waiting to happen. The United Nations likes to write resolutions, but they don't back them up with force. What's the sense of writing a resolution if you're not going to enforce it? The attitude of a lot of leaderships of countries and citizens of countries is you can almost say appalling. These are serious issues that affect everybody and have to do with the quality of life and have to do with the human experience. We have to decide for ourselves if we believe in life. We have to decide for ourselves if we're willing to put some kind of constructive meaning to life. Is it just about living? Is it just about us? Is it just about the pressure principle, whatever makes us feel good? Or do we have an obligation and a responsibility to make sure that not only are we promoting what is good in life, but that other people are doing the same? You know, I don't know why I started paying attention to what goes on in the world. And I'm willing to say that I'm just like everybody else, and for a long time I used to think that it was nothing more than sport. You pick a team and you root for your team, and when the other team does something stupid, you ridicule them for it. Or when the other team does something you perceive to be stupid, you ridicule them for it. When September 11th happened, you know, I have to honestly confess to you that I knew it wasn't the terrorists who were responsible. It was in my opinion, it was the political infighting in this country that put the United States of America in a position to be attacked in the manner that they were attacked on September 11th. And people may not want to hear that, but the reality is that for as long as I've been around, the interactions between Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Liberals, Conservative has been very pathetic. But you got used to the fact that was just a game. That's just the way the game is played. And we've seen history. I mean, it wasn't the first time. It was the first time the United States of America received a terrorist attack to the scale of September 11th. But it wasn't the first time the United States of America was attacked by terrorists. And I mean, I can remember the 50 hostages held in Iran during the Carter administration. I can remember hearing about the Marine barracks in Beirut. The naval ship in Yemen, the American embassies in Africa, the first attack at the World Trade Center. And I always wondered, well, why is this being permitted? You can't allow people to exist in the shadows and planning your demise. That's just not a very good position. And it took September 11th and President Bush to stand up and say, no, You're not going to exist in the shadows and destroy Americans. To Iraq, to me, see the danger with the Hussein Iraq before the invasion of the United States of America, and Iran, and North Korea, and Venezuela, is these are regimes that are not stable. They're very good at imposing the rule on their citizens, but they're very bad at stopping corruption within the ranks. See, the greatest threat is that somebody outside of these countries manages to acquire deadly materials from those countries. See, that's the greatest concern is that if North Korea builds nuclear weapons, if Iran builds nuclear weapons, if Iraq was to continue in their production of biological and chemical weapons that were documented in the 1996 United Nations report, the danger is that somebody, a terrorist, will take it from them and build a bomb and bring it to the United States and detonate that bomb. That's the danger. No country, no legitimate government is going to declare a war with a country that holds the most nuclear weapons on this planet. You'd have to be an idiot to pick a fight with a country that can literally annihilate you in nuclear fire. So a direct attack from China, a direct attack from Russia, a direct attack from Iran, even a direct attack from Iraq or Venezuela, I don't know if I mentioned North Korea, isn't the issue. The issue is that they are creating materials that other people can become can take possession of and can use in bombs to harm Americans. So that to me is how I analyze the danger. And I have to reiterate, you have to be a fool to declare war. You'd have to be you would be a foolish government, a foolish president of a nation to declare war on the United States of America, because the United States of America is going to defend herself, and the government and the people of the United States of America are prepared to use nuclear weapons if necessary. So a direct attack from another legitimate government I don't see it happening, because everybody knows what's going to happen right after that. You want to get Americans motivated to fight, attack them. And they know that. Al-Qaeda learned that. But the major concern is, again, that material gets into the wrong hands. Now, addressing the issue United Nations, the concern there is that the rhetoric, the people that we know who they are and what they are and what they're capable of doing, will continue. That rhetoric will inspire and motivate more extremists. Excuse me. And that within itself is a grave danger. What the president of Iran is doing, he's inciting future terrorist activity. The comment of the president of Venezuela is inciting future terrorist activity. There are people who are listening to these people speak and who are getting ideas and are becoming motivated to follow through on attacks. Is there a solution within the hands of the United States, within the hands of the leadership of the American government, in the hands of the American citizen? Yes, there is. You need to understand that Iran isn't going to stop her rhetoric. The president of Iran isn't going to stop his rhetoric. The president of Venezuela, the president of North Korea, the president of Russia and China, they're not going to stop their rhetoric. Even France is it's appalling to think of what United States of America has done for France and Germany, and then to have them side with savages, with animals. And that's all you are. if you're a person of the violent Muslim extremist, let me tell you that you're nothing more than a savage pig. You're not a human. You're not a warrior of God. God doesn't know you. Jehovah, the God of Abraham, the God of Daniel, the God of Moses, the God of the Lord Jesus Christ doesn't know you. You fight for the other side. You fight for the side of destruction. You fight for the side of violence and aggression. You fight for the side of death. And people in the United States of America need to understand that. This country needs to become unified. Somehow, this country needs to become unified to understand the threat and to be prepared to deal with the threat. I know we're in an era where you don't listen. That's not a surprise. That the American people are with their heads stuck in the sand. That's not a surprise. But what is coming needs to be seen for what it is. And if you don't deal with it, if you don't back your government, if you don't contribute ideas and solutions, if you don't let the world know that you are prepared to stand up and fight for what is yours, you're going to see a lot of carnage and blood. What has come to my mind, what has come to my spirit watching all of this, first of all, is and I must reiterate, is confidence in God, that God will do what He said He will do, and what is written in the Bible is going to happen, and nobody's going to take this world into absolute chaos where human life itself will become threatened. Not even the American government has that potential. Yes, you have the weapons. God's not going to allow humanity to kill humanity. But there will be a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, and we need to be prepared to deal with it. I say the President of the United States of America needs support. That support should come at this next voting session. And you don't just vote and go home. You have to stay there, and you have to annoy those politicians, and you need to let them hear your voice, and they need to hear your voice very clear and very loud, that this is a serious issue, and under no circumstances do we want to be a bunch of punk victims that get kicked around by a bunch of savage thugs. Nobody wants to instill more harm or destroy at the level that these individuals destroy. But if it comes down to an all-out war, I say it's better to be prepared and better to see things for what they realistically are. And myself, like so many others, are just so tired of seeing Americans not stand up for the United States of America, not stand up for the American Congress, not stand up for the American President, and not stand up for America itself. You're blessed. I'm going to say the United States of America is the best country in the world. There's no other country that offers you as much as this country does. But it isn't going to protect itself. America needs defenders. America needs warriors. And yes, there does need to be diplomacy. The United States of America does not need to declare war on the world. But that needs to be twofold. If we are to respect their values, then they must respect ours. And if they think it's a big joke, or they honestly believe that they are correct, then I would have to say that the government of this country, the government of America, and the people of America need to decide if they want to continue to do business with the people of these nations. Thank you for listening. I wish you well.